The village of Devpur sat quietly beneath the shade of old banyan trees, where the earth smelled of rain even in summer, and the evenings arrived with the sound of temple bells and distant conversations. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, where secrets traveled faster than the wind, and trust was both a gift and a gamble. In a small house near the edge of the village lived a young man named Arjun. He was 23 with kind eyes and a heart that believed in the goodness of people. He worked in his father's modest grocery shop, weighing grains, selling oil and spices, greeting customers with a smile that never seemed to fade. Arjun was loved by many. He had that rare quality. He listened. When someone spoke, he gave them his full attention. He remembered their stories, their struggles, their joys, and because of this, people opened up to him. They told him things they wouldn't tell others. He felt honored by this. He thought it meant he was trustworthy, that people saw something pure in him. But Arjun had one habit that he didn't yet understand was dangerous. He shared everything. Not out of malice, not to gossip, but out of innocence. He believed that openness was the same as honesty, that sharing what he knew would bring people closer. He thought transparency meant telling everyone everything. If a friend confided in him about a family problem, Arjun would mention it to another friend, thinking it was just conversation. If someone shared a dream they were afraid to chase, he'd repeat it at the tea stall, thinking he was being supportive. If a neighbor told him about a financial struggle, he'd bring it up with others, believing he was seeking advice on their behalf. He never meant harm, but harm doesn't always need intention. One evening, as the sun melted into the horizon and the sky turned the color of old copper, Arjun sat outside the shop with his childhood friend Mira. She was a school teacher, quiet and thoughtful, with a voice that always seemed to carry wisdom beyond her years. "Arjun," she said softly, "can I tell you something? But please, keep it between us." He nodded immediately. "Of course, Mira. You know you can trust me." She hesitated, then spoke. "I've been offered a job in the city. A good one. But I'm scared. Scared to leave this place, scared to fail. My family doesn't know yet. I haven't decided." Arjun smiled warmly. "That's wonderful, Mira. You'll do great. You've always been so capable." She looked at him, her eyes searching. "Just don't tell anyone yet. I need time to think." "I won't," he promised. But 2 days later, while chatting with a group of friends at the tea stall, someone mentioned the lack of good teachers in the village. "Actually," Arjun said casually, "Mira might be leaving soon. She got a job offer in the city." The words slipped out so naturally, he didn't even realize what he'd done. By the next morning, half the village knew. Mira's parents heard it from a neighbor. Her students heard it from their parents. The school principal called her in, asking if the rumors were true. When Mira confronted Arjun, her face was calm, but her voice trembled. "I trusted you," she said quietly. "I told you something I hadn't even told my own family. And now everyone knows. Now I'm being pressured to decide before I'm ready." Arjun's heart sank. "Mira, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean—" "I know you didn't mean it," she interrupted gently. "But that doesn't change what happened." She walked away, and Arjun stood there feeling a weight he had never felt before. In the days that followed, Arjun noticed a shift. People still talked to him, but they were more careful now. They shared less. They kept their distance. It was subtle, but it was there. He felt a loneliness he couldn't name. One afternoon, his father noticed him sitting quietly in the back of the shop, staring at nothing. "What's troubling you?" his father asked, sitting beside him. Arjun told him everything. About Mira, about the others, about how he never meant to hurt anyone, but somehow kept doing it. His father listened without interrupting. When Arjun finished, the older man was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "Come with me." They walked to the edge of the village, where an old man named Gopal lived. Gopal was a retired postman, known for his stillness, his wisdom, and the fact that he spoke very little. But when he did speak, people remembered his words for years. Arjun's father greeted him, and they sat together on the wooden bench outside his house. Gopalji, Arjun's father said, my son is learning something difficult. Perhaps you can help him see it more clearly. Gopal looked at Arjun with soft, knowing eyes. Tell me, Beta, he said gently, when someone gives you a letter to deliver, do you open it and read it to everyone along the way? Arjun blinked. No, of course not. Why not? Because it's not mine. It's private. Gopal nodded slowly. And when someone gives you their trust, their story, their fear, what is that? Arjun felt something turn inside him. A letter, he whispered. Yes, Gopal said. A letter written in vulnerability. And you've been opening those letters, Arjun, not with bad intentions, but without understanding their weight. Arjun's throat tightened. Gopal continued, his voice like a steady stream. There is a difference between being open and being careless, between being honest and being unguarded. Not everything you know is yours to share. Some things are given to you in trust, and trust is a responsibility, not a conversation topic. Arjun looked down at his hands. But I thought being close to people meant sharing everything. No, Gopal said gently. Being close to people means knowing what to hold sacred. Silence is not secrecy. It is respect. The words settled into Arjun like seeds in soil. That night, Arjun couldn't sleep. He lay in his small room, listening to the crickets outside, replaying every conversation, every moment he had shared something that wasn't his to share. He realized how many times he had hurt people without knowing it, how many small betrayals he had committed in the name of openness. The next morning, he went to Mira's house. She opened the door, surprised to see him. I came to apologize, he said quietly. Not to explain, not to make excuses, just to say I'm sorry. I didn't understand what trust meant, but I'm learning now. Mira studied his face for a long moment. Then she nodded. Thank you for coming. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was a start. In the weeks that followed, Arjun began to change. Not loudly, not dramatically, but slowly, with quiet intention. He learned to pause before speaking, to ask himself, is this mine to share? Will this help, or will this harm? Am I speaking out of love or out of habit? He started to notice how much people revealed when they felt safe, how much they withheld when they didn't. And he understood now that safety wasn't just about kindness, it was about discretion. When a customer told him about a struggle, he listened without repeating it. When a friend shared a fear, he held it gently like a flame in his palms. When someone trusted him, he honored that trust with silence. And slowly, something beautiful happened. People began to open up to him again, but this time they felt truly safe. They knew their words wouldn't travel. They knew Arjun had become someone who could hold their secrets without needing to unload them elsewhere. One evening, months later, Mira came to the shop. She had decided to take the job in the city, but she had made the decision on her own terms, in her own time. I wanted to tell you, she said, before I leave. Arjun smiled. I'm proud of you, Mira. She looked at him with soft eyes. You've changed, Arjun. I'm trying, he said. She nodded. That's all any of us can do. They stood there in the golden evening light, two people who had learned the same lesson from different sides, that trust is fragile and sacred and must be earned again and again. Years passed. Arjun continued to work in the shop, but he became known for something else now. People came to him not just to buy rice and lentils, but to talk, to share, to be heard. And he held their words the way Gopal had taught him, with care with silence, with respect. One day a young boy came into the shop, chattering endlessly, repeating things his parents had said at home. Arjun smiled gently and said, "Come, sit with me for a moment." The boy sat. "Do you know," Arjun said softly, "that some words are like seeds? If you plant them in the right soil, they grow into something beautiful. But if you scatter them everywhere, they just get lost. Or worse, they grow into weeds." The boy looked up at him, wide-eyed. "So be careful," Arjun continued, "with the words people give you. Not everything is meant to be shared. Some things are meant to be kept safe." The boy nodded slowly, and Arjun saw himself in that child. Innocent, eager, unaware of the weight of trust. The final message. Arjun lived the rest of his life in Devpur, a man who learned one of life's most important lessons, not through teaching but through loss, not through wisdom but through pain. And this is what he would tell you now, if you were sitting beside him in that little shop. Not everything you know is yours to share. People give you their trust like they give you fragile glass. It must be held carefully or it will shatter. Silence is not weakness. It is strength. It is love. It is the highest form of respect. Don't share everything. Don't open every letter. Don't repeat every story. Because trust, once broken, is the hardest thing to rebuild. So be the kind of person who listens deeply, holds gently, and speaks wisely. Be the kind of person others can trust, not because you promise, but because you prove it every single day. If this story touched your heart, let it remind you. The people in your life are not giving you information. They are giving you trust. Hold it sacred, and may you become someone who others can always count on to keep what is precious, safe,